Something that's been on my mind for quite a while, which is entrepreneurship really an endpoint for everybody who is in corporate?
To be honest, no.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, hustlers, non-hustlers. Welcome to yet another episode of the LHC Pod. Maybe I should change the format this time around. Welcome to yet another episode of
the LHC Pod, and I am Emmanuel. It's been a wonderful time. How's it been? We've done over 15 episodes.
Yeah. We should have a marker at this point.
Right?
Celebration party. Yes, we have.
So how's it been?
Good. Life has been lifing.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay. How's your side?
Very well.
So what do we have today?
What do we have?
Exciting conversations as usual. And today, this topic is going to interest a lot of people because it's about entrepreneurship. Are you an entrepreneur, by the way?
I consider myself one.
Are you or are you not?
I think that entrepreneurship begins from the mind.
You are speaking English now. Yes or no? Are you an entrepreneur?
How do you define an entrepreneur?
Well, an entrepreneur is someone who ventures out to entrepreneurship. Okay. An entrepreneur is someone who takes the risk of creating a venture, a business, something that solves real life problems. That's an entrepreneur.
And I'd like to ask, have we created something?
I would say yes.
So are we entrepreneurs?
Yes.
So you answered yourself. So
but are you solving problems? Are you solving a problem?
Yes, we're solving problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that is
cool.
But we're not alone today.
Yes, of course, we're not alone as always.
As always.
Yes. And we go out of our way to bring the best of the best. The cream de la cream within the society. People who have so much dirt and are willing to share. And today we have our amazing, wonderful guest, Bola.
Woo! Hi, Bola.
Hi, Bola, everyone.
Hi, what's up? How's it been?
I'm fine, thank you. It's great to be here as
You're
well.
glowing.
I am. Thank you.
Woo, yes.
Thank you. I can say the same for you both.
It's been a while.
Okay,
It has been.
Welcome, Bola.
Thank you, Lola. Thank you, Lola.
How's it been?
It's been interesting.
Yes.
Yes, it's been interesting, especially for why we're here today. I would say it's been interesting. But, as we proceed, I'm sure that everyone would follow along with the journey and the story.
All right.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm also looking forward to it. I think it's been burning in my heart as well.
Oh, wow. You're in the right place.
I know.
Does your phone still buzz? Like in the past. Let's start from there.
Okay, that's a part that is very important when we proceed. But maybe I should just start with that phone buzzing part. So by virtue of my former role, when I was in corporate, because if I get what we're centered around is the transition from the corporate life, 9 to 5 as it's popularly called, to entrepreneurship, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So at least the last roles or the last few roles I occupied required that my phone was always buzzing morning to night because, I had a lot of stakeholders I was managing, internal, external, of course, our internal customers, basic business education and our external customers. So is it buzzing as it used to? The shortest viable answer is no. Do I miss it? Not exactly.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
But did it teach me some things? I'll say yes. And it's one of the things that will be necessary when one wants to prepare for the transition from corporate life to entrepreneurship, where you equate the business of your phone to your importance. It's important that you realize that it's not tied to that. It's only tied to the role that you occupy. It's not you. It's not about you. And so I think that's why a lot of people go on a very fast decline when they leave the corporate world and then they transition and, things are not as they used to be because they have taken on the role as their persona, forgetting it's the role that drives certain actions, So very early on, I'd spoken to myself, it's about the role, it's not about you. That's why, a lot of political office holders, they're always jostling to go back. why? Is it so hard?
Exactly.
You complain it's so hard. Hey, it's hard. Leave it now. Let another person take it. But no, they're jostling because the perks of the role or the work required for the role or the sense of importance of the role
Of the role,
drives a lot of fulfillment for them or sense of being. So to your answer, as I said again, no. Do I miss it? Not exactly, because in this journey as well, it's not only a financial journey, it's also an emotional journey. So
Right.
you'll be working through your own issues. So it doesn't become difficult when certain things don't occur.
Okay.
The old, with your own mind be settled, and these things will not propel you to make odd decisions just to get that high. Yeah. So that's what I would say.
On that note, we'll go on a short break. We'll be back to dive in fully. Don't go nowhere. Hello, viewers. Welcome back. It's another super duper exciting episode of the LHC Pod. And you know how we do it here. We're bringing you the best of the best in the society. Not just that, we'll bring you informative topics that shapes our mind. Today, we're talking about entrepreneurship, living your 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 as it may be in your country, and then venturing into entrepreneurship. And today we have Bola in our midst, who will be sharing with us her life journey through the formal corporate world into entrepreneurship. Bola, how did you arrive at that decision to want to leave the corporate world and start your own entrepreneurship journey? Has it always been a plan? Do you have it in mind? How did it all happen? Because at a point we're constantly talking, engaging. I was one of your stakeholders and we're constantly engaging. And then at one point I called and
you became an ex-stakeholder.
so it then becomes an ex. Oh, okay, I've
Yes.
moved on and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So I have different phases to this question.
Yeah.
The first one I will talk about is I'll start from the corporate phase,
Yeah.
and I'll backtrack.
Okay, sure.
It's more interesting or it's relatable that way.
Sure.
So I'm one of the alumnus of GT Bank Training School, and to be very honest, there's something that the training does to you in shaping you, and that's why you wonder why I'm not here to market GT Bank, but the point is, I was in GT Training School, and they had different training providers. But there was a training provider, anyone in that particular class, they always looked gloomy. They said, oh, the person who owns the training outfit, she's very strict, she's very this. But they always just looked gloomy. But so one day she came to speak with them. She was not even, the way she was just talking was like people were dying. I said, what did she say? They said, when she came, she said, you should begin with the end in mind. So for them, it was like you begin to think that you're about to die. But that was the interpretation that quite a number of people got. However, something struck me immediately. It was, okay, whatever it is you do, know where you're going, know what you want to achieve, know how long you want to spend there, and then work towards that.
Okay.
That was experience 1.
Okay.
Experience 2 was when I got into my former place of work. It's an amazing place to work. In fact, if you want to learn structure, systems, I would recommend there any day, anytime. They're not perfect, but they're whatever it is they're good.
Okay.
So it was during training school again. I don't know what it is about training schools that are eye-opening experiences for me. It's something that I probably should investigate. Maybe I should own a bigger training outfit because I do training a bit on the side. So when in my training class, because of the distance of where I was always coming from, I was usually sleeping. So I always wasn't paying that much attention, but I was also paying attention. So most times people rarely heard me speak, but of course they, everyone already starts to segment who is who, what is what. And we knew that for us to have gotten there, everyone was above above average
Yeah.
because it was a very arduous process to get in. And so they brought in staff, like, one person. Oh, sir, how long have you been in this place? Man said, I've been here for 17 years. They're like, wow, that's a long time. And then one lady says, what are you people talking about? There are people that have been here for 30 years. And then I screamed, 30 years? Then everyone starts laughing. But I didn't find it funny at all. You know why I didn't find it funny? First of all, I'd already made up my mind that I always wanted to do my own thing. And I'll circle back to that part, which is very important. 30 years. No, I was down the whole day. And you know why? People laughed at it. I said, nobody here, if you had been employed here, if you'd taken the route that we took, which is most likely the case, nobody here was supper. So for them to say, stay 30 years, there must be something the company is doing that makes them so comfortable that they forget, either if they had a dream to be entrepreneurs, they forget that they're supposed to chase their dream. And even if they didn't have a dream to be entrepreneurs, then it means that it's easy for them to think that this is the only place that they could be.
Yeah.
So it scared me. And I was like, you know what? Bolajoko.
Today.
No. I was like, oh yeah, when are you leaving here?
From now.
I remember that time. Now that's when we're reading Habits of Highly Habits of
Seven Habits of
Highly Effective People.
Yes,
That was when those books were the in books.
Yes.
I was like, okay, first begin with the end in mind from training school 1. Training school 2 is, learning that you can be caught in this. So I said, 5 years, or when I hit a certain age, or just around that,
Okay.
and that I was working towards that. So, but where did my entrepreneurial journey start? That's the real question.
Okay.
Those are the preludes to why I now eventually made the move. But where did it start? It started when I was much younger. I realized that I was always concerned about, in fact, my mom still says it, that when she was doing business, I was always concerned about her profit. Where's your profit? Why are you spending your capital? I was always so, it excited me when I was in university. I was in the sciences. I just moved over to social science, business management. I didn't tell anybody in my house. When I finished, of course, they'll be upset. Like, what do you mean? How dare you? Like, well, that's what I want to do. So I enjoyed school, I enjoyed at least my university. I really enjoyed it. I partied. I read my books. It was a good balance for me,
Yeah.
So, but I always noticed that, then who used to blow us a lot. That means you are broke. There isn't that much money with you, and so I go into my headspace, and whenever I was thinking, I was never thinking about I'll be the MD of one top multinational. It was more like I was running my deals, I was doing my own things, I was doing my own. So that was where it was for me, right? Because the truth is, it's not an easy journey.
Yeah.
Right? It's a rewarding journey, but not an easy journey. But every single time you should remember why you're there.
Right.
Things like that will keep you going. That like Kuku said, I was not going to become MD of one multinational. So don't let me kid myself. That is not where the direction of but life is, we know life is very funny, it throws different things at you. So don't be closed-minded too, even in your entrepreneurial journey, but just know why you're in it. So I think that was where my entrepreneurial journey started from. The experiences of others, the advice of others, and also what I wanted for myself. Yes.
Wow.
Basically, to summarize is, you had a goal, you had a target, you worked towards your goal, and then at the right time you pulled the plug.
Well, that's subject to.
That sounds very neat.
Yeah, it sounds so neat, because the truth is, the date I planned was not when I left.
But eventually,
the avarices of life will come. Everything, COVID happened. I had personal losses too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was no. I was I almost did,
Wow.
but I didn't. Right,
Okay.
because there was another opportunity that I felt was good for me.
Okay.
And that's nothing is cast in stone. You can
True.
live
Actually,
5.5. If I must live in 5 years, what if it's the 5th year, 2nd month that something pivotal happens in your life, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So while you have a
Yes.
goal, don't be set so adamant that it must be this or nothing, because you don't know what life is going to throw at you. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I didn't live at the exact time, but I had a goal. There was an end
At the end
to
of the day.
to what I wanted.
Fantastic.
Interesting.
Fantastic. Yeah, so maybe I should bring in this other question and then
Yes.
give the floor to Lola.
Okay,
to
No
ask a
problem.
few
Waiting for
questions.
the floor.
Yeah. So my question is, you had a goal, you had a target, you'd even told yourself that at XYZ date, you were going to move on to something more challenging. I would say it that way.
Okay.
How did you plan and prepare for this?
Okay. So I think the preparation is one part that a lot of people take for granted, and that's the honest truth.
And
you
it's
know?
the reason why certain persons are still where they are. Right?
I would say that.
Okay.
You see, the people are where they are because they're where they are. The people I'm even speaking to are the people that have actually made the move,
Okay.
and they're sort of regretting the move.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably because
They're
it
two different
wasn't
people,
done
and
at the
it's
right
not.
time.
They didn't do.
Yeah.
No, I won't think it's not the right time.
Okay.
I don't think, as we say, nobody predicted the pandemic. It
Nobody.
happened.
Nobody.
You know, but you could just put some little safeguards for yourself.
Yeah.
And when it really doesn't work, it's okay to say, I tried. They always say life will reward those that take risk, that try, not the ones that sit. What's the worst thing that can happen to you? Not trying.
Yeah.
That's very important. So, but there are certain things that you can do, especially if you're coming from a corporate background and you want to transition to an entrepreneurial background. The people that, in my opinion, are lucky are the ones that never did corporate to get the cushioning effect or the safety net of a payday. So now if you're transitioning from that safety net to full entrepreneurship, it's a journey to think about. Remember, I said I started with the end in mind. Your beginning of your end may not be when I started. It could be you just realize one day you're not fulfilled anymore. But that's not when you should just pick up your bag and
say you're leaving.
Leave.
Yeah.
And there are certain conditions you need to also take into cognizance about them. First, what is your current situation? Are you a family man or family woman? Do you pay fees? Are you single? Can you, these things are very important, because if you're a family man, it's just not about you. If you're a family woman, it's not only you. And when the frustrations of some things not going according to plan comes in, what happens? You take it out on your loved ones, you get depressed, and you think that you didn't do something right. So you need to plan according to where you are at that moment. So
a context is key.
It is very important, especially when you are in a country that we don't have sufficient safety nets.
Yes.
It is very important.
Yeah.
So while we say we're a communal living environment, but we know that a lot of things, they're beyond just, please, I'm down, give me 20K. No. Give me 20, give me 20K, you're losing something. You're losing your pride, you're losing your sense of, the person is looking at you funny. At some point, they probably won't pick your calls again. So these are the things that, make
one
people
becomes very like a persona non grata.
Yes.
So it's a good point to even reflect on the journey that you've shared with us and ask this question. It's something that's been on my mind for quite a while, which is entrepreneurship really an endpoint for everybody who is in corporate?
To be honest, no. To me, people have varying thoughts. Yeah. Sometimes I say your personality, your risk appetite.
Especially that.
Your risk appetite, your personality will tell you. Just do your own deep dive. Am I someone that I can take what comes my way and run with it, whether positive or negative? Am I someone that would pass out if one thing just doesn't go according to plan? Who says you can't find fulfillment in 9 to 5?
Right.
Top MD of a conglomerate. That's beat someone who's been trudging and trudging for so long, and
So long.
Maybe so
finally arrived.
yeah, to be honest, not everyone arrives.
Yes.
That's one part that a lot of people should consider. I feel there's fulfillment in whatever you want for yourself.
Exactly.
It's left for you to decide what fulfillment is to you. It's left for you to decide what fulfillment is to you.
Because the truth is, and really that's really the background of this question, society makes it sound like everybody has to aspire to be an entrepreneur.
No,
because that's what gives you financial independence. But to your point,
so.
Not everybody who does slow and steady is necessarily poorer for it.
Who says it's slow?
Well, 30 years is slow.
No, but who says you will still have to work?
Slow and steady.
Whether it's entrepreneurship
Yes.
or
yes.
it's corporate.
But entrepreneurship is always painted as, it's a faster way to achieve what you want to achieve, because there's no ceiling to your earning capacity compared to a corporate where you know that this is an expectation. Every month you get a certain amount until you get a promotion, and a promotion is dependent on so many things you get. So it's like the idea is, if you want to get there faster, just start a business.
No, I don't think so. I think that those who... Everybody has his own aspirations.
No doubt, yeah.
Yeah. Though the society talks about entrepreneurship and then they try to preach it for key reasons, as you don't have to be idle. Rather than being idle and say you're searching for a job. And that's why they play up that narrative that you can be an entrepreneur, you can start your business and everything. Some persons are born entrepreneurs, and know that the way they go about things, from what Bola has shared with us today, you know that this one is innate. Entrepreneurship is already innate from the point where she's beginning to question her mom in terms of, what's your ROI?
I don't think I knew that term then, but it was again so similar.
You understand? What's your profit? Why are you spending your capital? It shows you a mind that is already
business oriented.
Yeah, business oriented and everything. And so you have people like that. There are some who have learned their ways into business, right? And then you have those who says, I don't want the headache of managing or running a business. I'd rather just stay put and then run
and live soft.
Yeah, the society play up this entrepreneurship, but I do not think that they make it a must do or must have thing in the society.
No, I'm not even saying it's necessarily projected as a must. It's just projected more like everybody should aspire to this point. So it's not like you must,
I don't think
but
so,
it's like more like should. Okay, you should be aiming to leave your 9 to 5 and do your thing and be your own boss. You remember the messaging of the early 2000s and co.
I think it's part time.
If you allow them play you, you're on your own. I think Bola has advised.
Yes, but Bola has said something really profound that you have to prepare. Prepare.
Yes, you do.
So your own journey, there was a lot of preparation. Can you give some insight as to some of the things that you did? Maybe practical steps. Maybe there's someone listening right now that is thinking about it but not so sure. So maybe the person can learn 1 or 2 things from how you approached it.
Okay. Yes, I think let me just add these.
Yes.
The resources to start, which is part of your preparation. How were you able to because sometimes we say salary is not sufficient to even take care of your expenses for the month, depending on your spending appetite. Okay, because some persons don't plan, they don't budget. Some are even take loan upfront, all in a bid. So how were you able? This is just the second part of her question. So when you answering, you can put both of them into perspective. I'm just speaking to the specifics. Finance, raising capital, and then eventually resigning, setting up. How were you able to achieve that? Because again, you can have investors. So if you say, they were investors who I talk to people would like to also learn so that when those who are aspiring to become entrepreneurs can also say, okay, you know what, I think I need to start sourcing for.
Okay. Okay, two very, very important questions.
Yeah. Okay.
So as we always would say, we can't take away the point of opportunity, privilege, and things like that. Okay, so I would say maybe opportuned to work in a good organization.
All right.
And so, of course, these things make it easier. However, there was planning before, and I will tell you where the planning started. It started when I was in university. I strongly believe everyone should have a skill set outside of formal education. So today I'm learning shoemaking, tomorrow is tailoring, next tomorrow is makeup, third time is... I was always constantly trying to learn one skill set or the other. I didn't know which was going to stick, but I knew that I had to have one, right? So that was my own journey. I don't know how other people's journeys are, but I'm just speaking to my own journey.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm a very firm believer of skills, right? So I'd learned the skill sets just shortly before I was done with university, got better at it after university. I think it was my NYC. You know, coincidentally, when I had my first job, it wasn't paying that well. So I used to augment my salary with my skill set. So that was what sustained me for the month.
Okay.
Now, in this journey, that was very low paying, right? I went to mid to high level paying job. And I had my house, they say that if you are looking for someone that can save, madam, you know when they say someone that can save, they're trying to say you are a bit frugal. But if you're looking for someone to raise you money in times of need, you know who to meet to. So in my house, I was that frugal person.
Okay.
You know, as a first child, you know, you see, your position in your family also impacts heavily on you as a person, you know. So frugal in my spending, but I was always working. I didn't have issues with challenges. When I was serving, I didn't know that coppers were not supposed to be doing those kind of jobs. I was still doing it. And so when I was speaking to my fellow coppers, they were like, you do that? That's a lot. So I don't even do. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. So I was a sponge. I kept soaking. And so this as well is one thing aspiring entrepreneurs should also put into perspective. You must be a sponge. You must be able to soak in.
Okay.
You must, when they say, oh, your mind has to be open and flexible, right? Because you never can tell where you eventually end. And I remember, I'm still on this journey. So what that means is that I've probably not gotten to the hallmark of I've not gotten to the hallmark of my journey. I'm learning along the way. So how did I plan? So that's first set. I learned a skill. The second one was, everyone says capital, capital, capital.
Yes.
So I was lucky because of where I was working, right? So that people don't get all worked up when they say, there's no money, how would I do it? Blah, 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 and all things like that. So we had the opportunity for a car loan. So instead of bringing a foreign used car, I split my money to two. I bought a Nigerian used car, and then I used the balance to set up a store. Remember, while in corporate.
Okay.
I split it into equal halves for car, which was the purpose for the loan. And I was one of those people who say, 0 interest loan. As soon as I was confirmed, I was the first person to apply.
Makes sense.
So I was one of the first people that, luckily, the backlog, they were clearing it. I got mine.
Makes sense.
So I got a store with that, and then I started with one staff. I told her, see, this is what I have. I'll be paying you from what I earn, but let's see how we can build together.
Okay.
So remember, I started when I was in corporate. So it was a daily income business.
Okay.
And luckily, it's still existing. It was even with the ups and downs we went through, a daily income business. So, but towards when I knew I was going to leave, remember I said I started with the end in mind.
Yes.
And so towards when I was about to leave, 2 years before I left, that was when I was active. So what I did was I started to take advantage of all the opportunities in my place of work, my travels, the stock options, because I needed to shore up my savings. Like, I needed my savings to be very heavy,
Yes, heavy.
just in
Makes
case
sense.
anything funny happens. So I'm okay for like, and remember, I always say it depends on your situation. No? If you are
Yeah.
a married man, or a married woman, or a single man,
It's
or you
different.
are the family breadwinner, it's so you know your situation and apply
Adjust.
within. So
Yes.
I started to shop my savings. I took advantage of all the investment, the trainings that I had access to. I was also learning how each place in the organization interacts, how they were able to build their systems. These are the things you need to do before you just up and leave. You know, unfortunately, where we are globally, not just Nigeria, mistakes are not cheap anymore. They're very costly,
Expensive.
very expensive. So you need to, as they say, test the waters gradually before you dump your 2 feet in. Now it's even hard to dump 2 feet in because in another 3 or 4 years, you're not sure what will happen, right? So
See.
you are in a constant cautiousness. However, you can take better risk when you are not bothered by your basic needs. So that's
the
one.
word.
The second thing I had to do was, luckily, I didn't have an expensive lifestyle.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's very important. Now, even it's okay to have an expensive lifestyle. It serves its own purpose. Even I learned that afterwards, and it's still in my journey that I'm learning that.
Okay.
When I say expensive, I don't mean pretentious. I'm saying what you can afford, but it just would have an impact on your savings or your
Right.
perception.
I see.
I'm not talking about being wasteful. I'm just saying, that kind of impact. So you need to start living very well below your means to the things that, okay, do I need this or do I want this? You start to do the
Needs and wants.
needs and want table.
Yeah.
You understand? So that when it really gets down to it, if it really gets down to it, you can still sort out your needs for a bit of time before that big lucky break comes. And we know that a lot of businesses fail between the first 5 years where we are. Even globally, if businesses fail, so your first business usually does not end up being your last business if you're an entrepreneur, but at least we have that behind our thoughts that you must plan, you must save, you must have something you're offering, and then you must also check your lifestyle to make sure that yes, you must check your lifestyle to make sure that while you're in your building phase, you don't feel you don't know the impact of emotion on on business, whether it's have depression or semi-depression or what, it's people underestimate it, and these are the things that can cause you to doubt yourself or think you've made the wrong decision and things like that. So basically that was how I started my own journey.
So if I understand correctly, first cut down your clothes according to your size.
It was even to your size. It was just that
was already to
it was to the size, but now you have to take it down a notch.
Down,
yes.
So that you can. So the importance of saving cannot be overemphasized if you're doing a 9 to 5 or a corporate job and everything. But if you have access to investment, why not? You can opt for that. If you have investors who are ready to key into your dreams, your aspirations, all good and fine. That also works. But the good thing is, in all of this conversation, know where you are.
Very important.
And use that situational awareness to plan your future. Right? So in long and short, that is what I understood or I got from this conversation. All good and fine. Yes, we've been there, working 9 to 5. Some of us aspire to, transition as you have done, right, and then move on to other things in life. After transitioning, it's a new dawn, a new set of challenges hit you, right? They hit you, and sometimes you are dazed by the challenges that hit you. And if you don't have that strong will, you can then begin to regret your actions and some stuff like that. In your case, because you are sharing your life experience with us now and with our viewers out there and listeners out there, were there initial challenges that you would like to share, and how were you able to surmount them, or how are you being able to manage them? Because we still know that some are, they're just rearing their heads up, and you're tackling them, you're moving on to the next stage, the next one is coming, you have employees to deal with, you have the economics of the country to deal with, you have, all of this. How are you able to cope with these things?
Like even the 9 to 5 person, we're all coping. Everyone just has their different types of demons to deal with, right?
Absolutely.
So the challenges it's not only the entrepreneurship journey that has its own challenges also, but down to this one, I had a funny experience. Remember that I started with, as we say, side hustle. A side hustle ran with corporate.
Yes.
Then full on, right?
Yes.
And we're still on the journey,
Exactly.
So I had one that was it had an important impact on me, and especially with employees. So and I also took my own learnings of where I dropped the ball, right? So I had staff that worked with me that at that point it was almost 5 years.
Oh.
Yes, so I'd had good staff, lovely, hardworking young people, right? And a few months before I decided to resign, and of course, before you resign, there are usually triggers here and there. You have your end goal, but there are usually triggers, and this was one of my trigger. And they had come together to all leave at the same time.
Oh.
I was lucky enough to find this out from a staff of mine who was like, but this person has been good to you all, has given you opportunities. Like half of you guys will probably be doing other things not as better paid. You've learned something, why are you doing this? So I just always noticed that her expression was of irritation when some of them were speaking. So she eventually told me, I've never had such amount of breakouts on my face as I had.
Wow.
It weighed me down so badly, not because I always thought that if you put good into the earth will bring good back at you through this. But what I didn't realize was it was not through the same channel.
Okay.
It didn't have to be through the same channel.
there's that.
So yes, you put good into earth, it will bring it back to you, but nobody says the channel.
Yes.
So I had breakouts, I was down, I'd lost some weight, because it meant that what I'd worked for so many years, to grow, will just die. We'll just go. I was scared, I was afraid. And I was like, you know what? Bolajoko, you wanted to leave. And this is a defining moment to leave. You either want to face it and decide what comes out of it and learn your lessons or regrets from it, or you face your 9 to 5 and by Jove, face it to the end and do not complain.
Yeah.
Because I also like to take accountability for what I do. I said, you know what? Well, where it is now, it's not a baby. So whatever it is, I can still start all over again and still build. But I'm not building, as they say, you're not building from the scratch. You're building from experience. You're building from, there's a lot more you've harnessed at that level. And so I left. But it taught me something that your business is really not about you.
It's not.
It's not.
Okay.
If you wonder why some employers are sort of funny, it takes strong will or sense of identity to remain a particular way. Like if you're kind or something, it's strong will. Because certain things you would see, you'll be, what in the world is going on here? So that was one major challenge I had to face. And I had to come to the realization as well that do not take for granted the feelings of the people that also work for you.
Yeah.
As good as I still wasn't meeting certain things that were important to them.
Wow.
And so it was a learning for me as well, that don't take people for granted as well. Just because they have shown that they are at that moment loyal to you, either you or the money or whatever it is they're enjoying, does not mean you should take them for granted. So each challenge, I don't think after that one, the next challenge is always when you're exasperated by managing people and you're like, you know what, I want to sell. I'm done. Then you now remember that you're stubborn. You don't give up. So you come back. And there was something my aunt said, I always remember. I'll say it in Yoruba. Then I'll explain what it is.
Okay.
A business. Why running money? Why running more? So what that means is you will keep at it. You have to be tenacious. That's the only thing that can keep you in. If not, a lot of things will get at you, and then, and always know that there's a solution. So
there's always a solution.
Always know that there is a solution. You would always keep at it and know that there is a solution. Let's go on a break. We shall be back. Hello, welcome back. If you've scrolled or you've decided to fast forward your video to this point, we've been discussing transitioning from the 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 corporate jobs to entrepreneurship. And so far, we have our amazing, wonderful, super duper guest in our midst, Bola. Bola has been giving us great nuggets on how to transition using her life experiences, and I hope that you have learned so much from it. According to Bola said, you know what? You must analyze and know your situation. Exactly. And that there is no one-size-fits-all approach towards transitioning. Knowing where you stand, knowing your financial status, knowing the kind of project you want to embark on, and then finding a way to navigate that journey or that transition is crucial. On that note, I say welcome, Bola. We move on to the next.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's been amazing. I have enjoyed everything. And I can tell you now that I have in my head, I know the steps to take if I am going to be transitioning from the 8 to 5 to entrepreneurship. So far, yes, we've dealt with you. You've spoken so much about the different aspects. There's one more thing that I would like to ask. Going into entrepreneurship, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is cast on stone. And occasionally there would be that fear that crops in and out in terms of, will I make it? Will I fail? Will I make it? Will I fail? How have you been able to manage as your experience? Similar. And how have you been able to manage that? Because sometimes that fear might even make you not take a leap. Where you're not so sure what you're going to meet when you go into full business.
Okay. So with entrepreneurship, in fact, before I left, right, when I put in my resignation letter, and it's even worse if you're not even having an issue career-wise. You're rising as you should rise. You're probably having a fulfilling career. So it's a little more difficult than when you're even upset with the system. It's different. I had this debilitating fear. As in, what did you just do? Like, is anyone chasing you? Like, why would you do that, So I felt sick.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and it's part of the process. It is not a bad thing. It is just part of the process. The fear, that fear was almost crippling. I felt like puking sometimes.
Oh, wow.
I felt down, for 3 weeks straight, because I also had to give notice for a longer period of time than, when you can just disappear. I didn't want to take that approach out. I cared about the job enough for the transition to also be good. It was important to me because I felt like you shouldn't just leave things hanging for people. if you can take out the time to, let it transition correctly. So, of course, the fear is there. But there was something I always said to a friend of mine. And I was saying it, I wasn't imbibing, but I was saying it and then I was listening and then I was affirming at some point that the other side of fear is nothing.
Right.
So there's nothing.
Okay.
Yes, because fear it's something in the future. It's projected for a future occurrence. When it does occur, you will solve it. Well, if it is a big problem, you will solve it. If it is a small problem, you will solve it. If there is no problem, you will be there. So it is just a projection of a future occurrence, and then you put so much negative emotion to it. So I always say that the other side of fear is nothing. So every single time when I was about to get scared, I would just say, the other side of fear is nothing.
The other side of fear is
nothing.
Wow.
I used to say that to my friends. So where did it start? It started from
It is actually, yes.
It started from, whenever she wants to do something risky, because she's, of my friends group, she's less adventurous, but now more adventurous, because I've not seen anyone to switch so many jobs as my friend.
Oh, wow.
So I'm so proud of her journey as well. So we will probably want to go for some sort of slightly dangerous game, and she knows that by herself alone, she would not do it. So let's go. And so I said, okay, you can do it. Oh, you can go kayaking. We'll go kayaking. She's like, Bridget, don't leave me. I'm like, no, you can do it. Don't worry, I'm here beside you. Like, why? How she would come with her fellow friend who is also scared. So then we'll have so much fun and realize that, okay, we went on a Ferris wheel and it was very high and we came down and we're happy. Yeah. But we did it, We were scared that we were going to fall, but we did not. Yeah. And we came down happy. So I always say, other side of fear is nothing. So yes, it's okay to feel fear, but don't let it cripple you. So that's what I do now as well. And then there's another thing that a friend of mine taught me. I always wondered why he never complained. No matter what you say about the economy.
Okay.
It's not the best or wherever it is. He will never complain. Why? He will say, you just get on with it. So that is his mantra.
Meaningful glances I'm getting from Emmanuel here.
You know what? Honestly, it's so... I'm like, why don't you ever complain? So when you complain, does it solve it? No. So just get on with it. As every single time he says that, I just remember, just get on with it. So just get on with it. So those two things has just helped me.
Amazing.
With my...
Amazing.
This corroborates my thinking and also affirmed. And that's why I was glancing at her, because sometimes when we have conversations and I'm like, you know what, I'm not ready to complain about this. I don't want to talk about. In fact, usually my phrase is moving on, meaning I don't want to have these conversations, right? So it shows that I'm on the right track. At least I have an alibi. Right?
Just get on with it. So that's it, really.
Amazing. So, I mean, you've shared some profound words, but I really love that expression that the other side of fear is nothing. That is getting framed. So, generally speaking, So generally speaking, what advice would you give to someone listening to you right now who is thinking of proceeding on this journey, listening to you and saying to themselves, yes, I want to be an entrepreneur, but is this the right time? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I still hold on to this job I have? That kind of thing. So what would you advise such a person at this point?
Okay. To sort of wrap up all we've been talking about, and you can tell the things that are important to me as based off our conversations. Things like understand where you are, understand your personality, prepare.
Yes.
Don't just jump at it.
I don't even think we have the luxury to...
Not in this economy.
I wouldn't even just say economy only. We are more on this earth. And funny enough, as you're saying economy, there are also opportunities. Because wherever there's a downturn, is a gap for... So we say, GSK is leaving, but we forget that me and Baker left one time, and then there was a Nigerian ripe enough to take over, and they took over the market. So,
true.
With every downturn, there's one opportunity hidden. You just hope that you are prepared enough to take advantage of those opportunities, or you are aware that you can take advantage of those opportunities. So back to what we were saying.
Yes.
You just need to prepare according to what you have, where you are. And really, the other side of fear is nothing. You need to make bold steps. But most importantly, and I won't say, oh, I have this mentor I look up to. I have a lot of people. In fact, I feel like if you are very heavily aware, you pick every moment spent with anybody as a point for lessons. So you don't only need to aspire to the people who are on top, or just only think that that's the only place wisdom comes from.
Love that.
It could be a very odd conversation,
like this one,
you know, that you will hear something. It could be, and you know what's so weird? I've had a experience before. People ahead of me, you know, they were curious about something. So we had lunch. Like, a former boss of mine, Bola, where did you get that boldness from?
Wow.
You know, I know I look up to people, but I can still, not even, like, you're younger than I am, but I can also learn from you. So you need to learn, you can learn from anyone, you know, so make sure you're open-minded to learning. Make sure, I personally don't have, this is one person I speak to. I pick every moment as a learning moment. Absolutely. I can have lunch with you and I pick something. We could be walking and I pick something. So you need to be open-minded to learning. But it's also important to have mentors in the field that you've also chosen, because it makes the journey easier. I say, why do you need to stand on your own when you can sit on the shoulders of giants?
Amazing.
So the giants here, people that have gone through life experiences, they've conquered these walls that you're trying to break through, you know. So sit on their shoulders and let them guide you, but be careful whose shoulders you sit on so you don't fall as well.
That's a word.
Be careful on the shoulders, on whose shoulder you lean or sit on, so that you don't fall. Also, you can learn from anyone.
Yes.
There is no special occasions for learning. Learning is continuous, and on a daily basis you can learn from anybody.
So Emmanuel, you can learn from me.
Yes, I can learn from you, Lola. And Lola, you can learn from me too. Right? So we all learn from each other just to become a better person.
Yes, absolutely.
What a wonderful way.
Amazing.
To draw the curtain. Lola, final words to our listeners out there.
Yes. So thank you so much, Bola. This has been an amazing conversation. I think what stood out for me in this conversation is the fact that the other side of fear is nothing. It's something that I've grappled with personally at several points in the past. And honestly, if I were to say a final word, it's just go for it. Go for it. If it's your dream, if it's something that you are looking forward to doing, just go for it. Of course, prepare. We've talked a lot about planning. We've talked about preparing and not just, jumping ship and all that. But definitely go for it. It's worth it at the end of the day. So how about you, Emmanuel? What do you have to say?
The other side of fear is nothing. Just do it.
So, Bola, tell us what business you're into. What's this business that you left the 9-to-5 to pursue?
No, let me correct that. It's not only this business, it's the journey towards more businesses.
Oh, yes. Sure.
So,
building an empire.
Part of the empire.
We are building an empire. Very important to note that because it's a journey, right?
Of course.
We're not at the end. But I currently run a beauty service business. So making men and women beautiful, wholeness and wellness. That's what we do.
Nice.
Yes. So that's what it is. So of course you can come patronize our services and enjoy what we offer.
Definitely.
Where can we meet you?
So it's at 5 Oriwu Street, Elf Bus Stop, Lekki. Lekki.
All right. And then
for all the Blackie guys, you know where you can have your
for anywhere you are.
Thank you.
So your Instagram handle, website.
Okay, our Instagram handle is Treshic NIG. That's TRESCHIC NIG. And for our website is www.treshicng.com.
Oh, nice.
You've heard from her for your beautification. If you want to be as, you see, when she came in, I said, you are glowing. Right? So
thank you.
Emmanuel, it's like you'll be needing the service. So.
Well, it's on this note that we call it a wrap. Thank you very much and have a fantastic day. Bye.
Bye.